Hey, James here. Hi guys. Welcome to my video. Yesterday I made a video about perception and understanding, and I will do the same drawing today because I think I have to fine-tune everything a little bit better to make it easier to understand. And as you see up here, I put it in quotes, minimalistic understanding. And the reason why I say minimalistic understanding is I make a differences between there's some general understanding, in the mainstream general understanding, and then you can go deeper into it of understanding. But this is like, I define it as minimalistic understanding. Focus on minimalistic because not everyone understands the minimalistic definition of it, and I will explain you, and I guess you will see what I mean by that. That is, you need a extreme sensitive, sensible senses to capture, to understand what I'm trying to explain here. And it's about measure, difference, contrast, compare, align, a wire, geometry. They're all together in one single unit. And what I'm trying to show you here is like that the brain function operates extreme fast in your unawareness. Before you're aware of something, the brain does a lot of things before you're aware of it. And so what I'm trying to explain you here right now is an optical perception. And you need to have a minimalistic understanding to understand that. Otherwise, I can't. I don't know how to. I created that minimalistic understanding. I just created that, but that's what how I would define it. So this drawing, this theory, what I'm drawing, what I mean by that minimalistic understanding, you will figure it out why I say that, because it's very hard to understand that. But I try to make it really, really understandable. So you have to really listen carefully each word what I say. And I will speak slowly, and I will take time to speak, okay? So imagine what you see here is nothing. There's nothing, all right? There's just nothing, right? It's a blank area. There's nothing. It's easy to understand, and there's nothing to hold on or to grab on, because there's just nothing, right? It's just easy and simple. Now, when I draw something on it, you see first that I draw a dot on nothing, right? Because we said there is nothing. Now what I've done is by drawing that dot, I created a layer on the nothing, right? Because this is nothing, there's nothing, right? It was nothing. Then I created a dot over here. I automatically created an invisible layer, which is the dot is above the nothing, the invisible, right? So also what happens here is that because I was drawing a dot, I created a contrast between this and this, right? So what I did is, let me make it a little bit bigger, the arrow. So between this and that, which is nothing, and that is something. So let me write here something. And here, nothing. The nothing is empty, nothing to hold on of, nothing to grab on. It's just nothing. It's invisible. It's endless. It's invisible, right? You have to understand that. By creating that dot on the nothing, I created an invisible layer on the nothing. And that dot is something, and on this side where there's nothing, there's nothing. That's why the word nothing. So it's comparing now. We know that this dot looks like a circle. It has a color. It's black. It's round. It has a form. It has a shape. And it has an edge. So when we look at it, what we perceive when we look at it is that dot the dot, we found out that it's something. It has a circle, it's black, it's round, it has a form, it has a shape, and it has an edge. On this side, nothing has no circle, it's not round, has no form, has no shape, and has no edge. So what we have created is that the dot is a layer above the nothing. And that's why I created this line. Now very carefully to listen. So this line, what I actually draw as a comparison between something and nothing, right? Between this and that, I created a line, right? And in that line, there is, between this something and this nothing, right? We compared it that this is something. It has a circle, it's black, it's round, it's form and shape and edge, and here's still nothing, right? Now, this line is, you can also see it as a accumulation, a boundary of data it is accumulated in this wire, in this line. If you see it in a geometrical way, this line comprehends the knowledge, the data between this comparison. I hope you get that. It's very important to understand. So the boundary between nothing and that something is that something is a layer above the nothing. And that layer must be filled in to recognize as a layer, as a line. And so let me make this a little bit wider. Like this, right? And in this line is the accumulation, out of the comparison. which is something, circle, black, round, form, shape, edge. That's what we compare between these two, what the other side has and the other side don't have. So you have to imagine that these things, that something, circle, black, round, form, shape, etc., etc. This is the line. This is what makes the invisible visible, which is been created by comparing between nothing and something. And in this case, this dot right here. Right? Or you can see it as a wire when we see it from electrical field. In that wire comprehends the data, the accumulation, the boundaries between this and that, right? And the thing is, this can be either a line in geometry, or like this, it could be a wire in electricity, and also this is you. Let me make a head, maybe. So the comparison, what we identify between those two, that this is something to compare to nothing, right? That something, that dot is already a layer above nothing, which is represented in geometry at this line. This line comprehends the knowledge, the accumulation, the boundary, which is in this case a circle, black, round, form, shape, edge. It comprehends this. It's running through this. You can see it also as a wire in electricity, in electric, that all the energy, all the knowledge, all the data is running through that wire. Circle, black, a round, a form, a shape, an edge. It's a connection between those two, the comparison. Also, it's you. This is also you, right? It also is you. It's the I, so to speak, because you are between these two. So this is you. It doesn't matter if it's horizontal or vertical. You are here. That's you. And you compare between this and that. So you are the line. You are the wire. The data runs, the data, the accumulation of knowledge, the boundaries, the layer is you. Everything is in this line or in this wire, and that's you, or in your brain, in your head. That's you. it's really, if you have to understand this, and I call that minimalistic understanding. I know it's very hard to grasp, but when you see that, it opens a lot, it unlocks a lot, or it opens a lot of so for instance, so that dot is an accumulation, or we can do it, maybe let's do it like this, maybe it's visual better understanding, is when this is nothing, right? Here is nothing, there's nothing. Now, well, hold on, I gotta make it a little bit more down. So here is nothing. Instead of here, I did it, it's now here, right? Here is nothing. Let me move it away. So here is nothing. And here is the dot, which I did over here. So to compare between these two, between nothing and something, and this is all that, when you compare it, it's that something has a shape, that something is round, that something has an edge, that something is black, right? This runs through this line. Through this wire or through this line from nothing, and it has created that dot, which is a layer. I hope you get it. It's really I call that minimalistic understanding, and I think it's I would say a new theory what I have created. I think it's nowhere else. I haven't seen it. And another thing is, what is also when this is something, a dot, or hold on a second. Yesterday I did something with a square, the same thing. So this is nothing. It's invisible, right? It's just nothing. Now when we do this line comprehends all the boundaries, the accumulation of data in itself. And it's also a layer above the nothing. So this is the invisible, visible area or space. Nothing. Nothing. So this is S1. Now when I draw through, and see, that's the thing. What we're doing here is we divide the space into I said it yesterday, the outer space and inside the inner space. And these are the boundaries. These are the boundaries that is the comparison between the invisible area, the nothingness, the outer space. But the outer space is already a division from space. But because we had made here a line, it's the outer space and the inner space. The inner space. Right? But it's the same space. But the line, what happens is when we see a line, it captures, it reduces us down, it's limiting us, and that limited area, that limited space is bounded. It comprehends the data, the accumulation of to create that. So that's the inner space, right? So now we were in the invisible area, in the nothing, in the outer space, in the space. By doing this line, we divided the space into the outer and the inner space. So this is an accumulation of data in this area, right? It comprehends all the comparison between this and that, because what is different between the outer space, the invisible, the nothingness, and that? It is the inner space. The comparison between this and that is that this is a square. It's black. And it has corners. It's a line. And it has numbers. By that, let's say it's 4 centimeter, right? So it's 4 centimeter each square. Now, when we take the half of it, which is 2 centimeter, and we draw it in the middle, then we have here 2 centimeter, 1 centimeter on this side, 1 centimeter on this side, and 2 centimeter in the inner. So we have now the outer, the inner, and the inner. But it's the same thing, but we're reducing ourselves more and more down. It's like you zooming in, right? And you forget the outer space as more you go into it in. So it's always a scale thing too, right? So now we have the outer space, the inner, and the inner. Right? So this is 2 centimeter. This is 1 centimeter. So altogether it's 4 centimeter on each side. So we can take this inner space out here. Inner. Right? And then now we have 3 space. We have the outer space, because we divided it. We have the outer space. Then we have here the inner space. And then we have here the inner space. Let me make that a little bit bigger. The inner space. But they're all from the same. It's like we cut everything in layers. So this is the outer space. First it was the invisible space, the nothingness, right? Nothing. It's invisible in infinity. By creating a line, the division, which holds all the data and the boundaries between now what we have created, the outer and the inner, because we have to give names to compare. And out of this comparison is the new line, the new wire. Like between this and that. That this and that has always a new name. And always by comparing between this and that, it will create a new line or a new wire. And out of that we create another, again, a this and that, and then we create another line, and so forth. It's going all the way like this, endless. So now you see we have created the inner space, and that inner space has boundaries and accumulation. It comprehends, it's square, black, has corners, line, numbers, geometrical figure, etc. And then in the inner space, we have created, by making in half, in the inner space. Now we have 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. But it's all the same. But we zoom in. We zooming in. We limit ourselves down to the smallest thing, right? And we forgot that we came from the origin, the invisible space area. And now we compare between this, that, and this and that. It's like a triangle, so to speak, right? And you are the one who compares. You are the one who divides. You are the one who creates a division. You are the line. You are the wire. You are the division. You are the one who divides between this and that. You hold this. A line comprehends the measures, the difference, the contrast, and the compare. A wire comprehends the accumulation of measure, difference. So it's all in the line. It's all in the line. It's all here. This is this and that. This is the layer that created out of this. The comparison, you compare between this and that, and the sum, what comes out of it, is the new layer, the new wire, and automatically the division. So I hope you understand. I know it's very hard to grasp that. That's why I call it it's a new term what I have created, minimalistic understanding. And I think it's a very interesting thing to do more research about it. Well, I have created that theme, minimalistic understanding. I think it doesn't exist, but my presentation here, I hope you understand that what I mean by minimalistic understanding. I think it's a new level of understanding. All right, so thank you for watching, and see you next time. Thank you. See you next time.